Hello, and welcome to Crit Hit Play. Today we will venture into the realm of critique and its place in our creative world. To set the tone, let's consider a recurring sentiment often echoed in defense of certain creative works.
Just remember, this is a film about space wizards intended for children.
Such statements as this and others that portray a similar position, while seemingly dismissive, prompt us to ponder the nature of criticism itself. Is criticism always warranted? Are there conditions in which its importance is diminished? By the end of this discussion, my goal is to convince you that constructive criticism, given thoughtfully and with respect to the context, is essential to the growth and development of creative content. I posit that this principle here, one that champions critique as a cornerstone of creative evolution, cannot be casually dismissed without substantial and well-reasoned counter-arguments. The first point that I would like to dive into is the nature of the content. Specifically, does the nature of the content impact the need for criticism? A popular fallacy that exists is that the nature of the content, specifically for example, if it was meant for children, makes that content exempt from criticism. This notion, however, is fundamentally flawed. While it's true that content designed for younger audiences might be simpler or more fantastical, it does not negate the need for coherence, quality, and a strong narrative structure. Children's content, while seemingly more lighthearted in nature, typically, tackles important themes and life lessons. Themes such as friendship, honesty, bravery, empathy, and even loss are part of those frequently woven into these narratives. Poor execution of these themes can lead to misinterpretation and confusion among even young audiences. Therefore, the importance of constructive criticism in this domain becomes paramount to ensure that the content is not just entertaining, but also educational and emotionally enlightening. Secondly, let's examine the role of fantasy in narratives. It's a common misconception that the inclusion of fantastical elements within a story renders it immune to critique. It is oftentimes to the contrary. Fantasy serves as a powerful vehicle to explore complex themes and ideas that might be too abstract or daunting in a realistic setting. Fantasy narratives, by their very nature, are intricately crafted tapestries of metaphor and allegory. They serve to reflect our world, mirroring societal norms, behaviors, and issues, albeit in a disguised but often more digestible manner. These inclusions of elements such as space wizards or magical creatures should not be used as a shield against criticism, but instead should invite deeper analysis and interpretation. Next, let's consider the audience. While it's true that children might be the primary target for certain content, we cannot overlook the fact that these works often resonate with adults as well. This resonance could be due to a myriad of factors, such as nostalgia, the universality of the themes, or even the sheer creativity of the work itself. To diminish critique solely based on the intended demographic is to overlook the broader appeal of such content. This is particularly relevant in the context of franchises like Star Wars, which, while family-friendly, have amassed a large and dedicated adult fan base. These fans, through their engagement and discourse, contribute significantly to the evolution of the franchise, making their critiques and feedback invaluable. However, I would be remiss if I did not bring some counterpoints to this argument. Let's explore three main considerations. 1. The inherent value of artistic expression. 2. The potential harm that criticism can cause. And 3. The influence on artistic freedom. Artistic expression is deeply personal to each individual, and the value of a single piece of art can often transcend its technical merit. However, it is equally important to understand that criticism is not an assault on the inherent worth of creative expression. Rather, it is a tool to enhance and refine it. Moreover, while criticism can provide valuable insights, it doesn't diminish the inherent worth of creative expression. It's essential to remember that the value of a creative work is multifaceted and can be appreciated from various perspectives, each offering unique understanding and interpretation. The next point that we must address is the potential for harm. There is a thin line between critique and disparagement, and it is essential that we navigate this landscape with care to avoid causing undue distress or discouragement. Criticism, when not delivered constructively, can indeed be detrimental. It can discourage creators, stifling their creativity and passion. However, when critique is delivered thoughtfully and constructively, it can become a catalyst for growth, pushing creators to stretch their boundaries and explore new facets of their craft. Lastly, the influence of criticism on artistic freedom. This is a contentious point. There's a concern that excessive criticism might suppress creativity. However, it's important to differentiate between stifling criticism and constructive criticism. Constructive criticism, by its very nature, seeks to improve and enhance the creative process rather than obstruct it. While there might be a concern that criticism could influence a creator to cater too much to audience expectation, thus stifling their original vision, it's crucial to remember that constructive criticism is not about dictating what a creator should do. Instead, it's about offering insights, perspectives, and suggestions that the creator can consider and incorporate as per their own discretion. While we must protect artistic freedom and uphold it as a cornerstone of creativity, it does not absolve creative works from being answerable to their audience. The audience, through their engagement and feedback, become co-travelers in this creative journey, contributing to the evolution of the content. As we draw this discussion to a close, I want to revisit our initial point. Constructive criticism, given thoughtfully and with respect to the context, is essential to the growth and development of creative content. We've explored how this principle stands firm in the face of common counter-arguments. And I also want to include in this video the acknowledgement that this concept extends far beyond movies and stories. Before we part ways, I'd like to broaden the application of this principle. While our discourse has primarily been centered around cinematic narratives, the core belief carries weight across a spectrum of creative endeavors. Take game design, for instance. Just as with movies, constructive criticism is key to identifying areas of improvement, deepening the engagement of the player base, and ultimately refining the game's experience as a whole. The heart of our argument stays intact regardless of whether we are discussing space wizards, fantastical creatures, or detailed, intricate digital worlds. Let me conclude by addressing the temporal context of this discussion. I am well aware that the clip that I used at the beginning of this video from Patrick has been circulated and discussed to great lengths. And I'm well aware that even the clip that I used from Patrick's video does not give the full context to what he said. It's more of that I'm trying to attack the general idea that has not been just put forth by Patrick, but has been repeated by a great many people in a great many circumstances. I could go and pull up dozens of clips of people that repeat something of a similar nature. So I'd like to put forth that my intent was not to challenge the individual that created that clip or to rehash old debates. Instead, I hope to confront the pervasive mindset that can undermine the essential role of thoughtful criticism in the realm of creative media. In our world, there's oftentimes new narratives that are constantly being spun, or fresh fantasies being conjured, or even reiterations or reinterpretations of our existing media. It was my hope here today to discourage those that have a dismissive attitude against criticism, and to hope that that never really takes a foothold in the future. As we navigate the enchanting labyrinth of art and media that we find ourselves in today, let's strive to elevate our conversations to recognize the potential within every single tale, be it about space wizards, magical beings, or ordinary people living extraordinary lives. Let's continue to question, probe deeper, and seek to expand our understanding. For it is through such rigorous engagement that we truly experience the captivating allure of storytelling in all of its forms.